Hey everyone, welcome to another BTM screencast. Today we'll be looking over Chapter 36, Exterior Wall Frame Parts. So here's a typical side view of what you'd see for a framed wall, and we can see all the different components of the wall. So if we start over here on the left, we can see our standard corner post right there, and we'll go over post construction. Up here we have a cut-in brace, and when you have a cut-in brace, you're going to have this kicker right here, and then we're going to come down and run these. These are cut in place in between the studs, running all the way down. And typically braces that you use like this, they're about the same height as the wall. So even though they're running at an angle, they're still about, the length of them is still about the same as the height of the wall. Now going through, here we have our studs, 16 inches on center. Right here is our bottom plate or sole plate, as indicated here. Here's a rough opening for a window. And the components that we have that make up this, we have our king stud, which is your stud cut at the normal length. We have a jack or a trimmer stud, and you can see that this one comes all the way up to right here. And then we have our cripple studs, which are here. And we can also have cripple studs up here, depending on the location and the size of the window. Sometimes you can run your header all the way up, sometimes you can't. So if you have a header like this right here, you eliminate the need for cripple studs up top. Here we have one for a partition. We're going to be going over how those are constructed. And when we look over here, we have a rough opening for a door. And you can see it follows the same construction as a window. Here we have our king stud, which is full length. We have our jack stud. We have a header. And then on this side, we have a corner constructed in a different manner. This is an energy efficient corner. And we're going to be going over that also. Two more components. This is a single top plate here, but you can see that there's two of them, one there and one there. So this ends up being a double top plate. So plates go on the top and bottom. They run horizontally, and they're what the studs connect to. The studs are vertical members of the wall frame, and the cripple studs that we talked about, those can be below or above a rough opening for a window, and sometimes they're above doorways also. Headers run at right angles to studs, supporting any of the loads above. Because we're creating a cavity in the wall, right, we're taking out the studs that could be in the center here, so this is just an opening. By putting the header up, we help bridge that and strengthen this opening. And the headers can be built in a variety of ways. So here's an example of some ways that we can build up headers. In lab, we will be focusing on this one, the second one. It's a built up header, so we'll use two 2x10s, and in between we use a 1/2 inch piece of plywood. Rough sills, they're the bottom of the window openings. We also have jack studs, which we went over. They line the sides of openings to support the header. Corner posts, they provide inside and outside support to fasten the finishes. Now, one thing we'll go over with the corners is that we need to be able to attach finished material, let's say plywood, to the outside corner, but they also need to be constructed in a way that we're able to easily attach finished materials such as drywall to the inside. So here's a close-up view of a window opening. So here you can see our bottom plate. Here we have cripple stud, our king stud here, and we can see it runs the entire length from bottom plate to the top plate. Here we have our header, cripple studs up above the windows, and then right here we have our double top plate. One thing to keep in mind with cripple studs is that these are still run on 16-inch centers. So regardless of where the window's located, we're still going to have our cripple studs on 16-inch centers, as if we were continuing the wall layout and a window wasn't in there. Here's an example for some of the corners that we can build. So in this example, they use a 4x6 in the corner, and you can see the way that this is constructed on the outside. We can easily hang our exterior sheathing there. And this corner that it creates on the inside, we'd be able to hang our drywall quite easily. Here's another example. This is an outside view of a corner. Again, you can see we'd be able to hang our exterior sheathing quite easily. And we have a nice area in here where we'll be able to fasten our drywall. This one's constructed a little differently. This one's run here. This one is turned, as you can see, 90 degrees from it, ending on the bottom of this bottom plate. Attached, we have 2x4 blocks. And then we return in this direction, heading there. Now you can see that this space should be insulated, but that's going to be pretty hard to get at. Now when we look over, this is the energy efficient corner. You can see that this is set up a little differently. So we use less material for this. You can see we have 1, 2, 3 studs. Here we have 1, 2, 3 studs, but we also have the blocking. On this one, we can eliminate the blocking. We're still able to fasten our exterior sheathing from this stud to this stud right at the corner, and we're also able to easily fasten it from this stud to that corner. The difference between this corner and this corner, again, the insulation can easily be fit in here. On this one, that lets an air gap. More components are partition intersections. They provide support for interior finishes on both sides of the partitions. Ribbons are used to support second floor joists. Remember, this will be in balloon framing. And corner braces are used in cases with insulating board sheathing. So here we go, and these are examples of different ways that you can frame partitions. In this first one, we have our studs laid out. These are all on center, so 16-inch coming up. This partition happens to come in between them. So we have a 2x4 here, 2x4 here, and then we have 2x4 blocking here. So you can see this is very similar to one of the corners that we looked at. Another way that we can do that is here we have a 2x6 backing. So we're able to use our wall here. Now, of course, this is a stud. This will be our first stud in the wall. And we're able to take this and nail right into the 2x6. And this 2x6 is turned 90 degrees to the 2x4s, and that allows us more area to nail. And this will be fastened again, bottom plate and to your top plate. Another way that we can do that is, again, you can see that we have these laid out on 16-inch centers. We can put blocking in here, here, here. Again, using a 2x6. Come in, and we're able to take our partition wall, put it right up against, and then nail in. As the author notes, those are supposed to be full-length studs for all of these, and they're just shortened so you can get a better idea of what it looks like. So again, here's an example of balloon framing. If we were platform framing, which we do in the lab, we wouldn't be doing any of this. So don't concern yourselves with this too much. Here's another example. So let's go over the components in this. So we can see this corner here is not the energy efficient corner, right? We have 1 stud, 2 stud, 3 studs, and then we have our 2x4 blocking in between. Here we have a corner brace, also known as a rack brace. This one is going to be let in. Since this is let in, all the 2x4s coming in this direction, they're all notched to receive this. And again, this brace, the length of it should be close to the height of your wall. It's just run at an angle. Here's a kicker. So if we have a kicker here, we also have a kicker up here. And then we know that this is cut-in bracing coming down, so each one of these gets cut in and installed in place. Of course, these are our studs coming up. We have a temporary brace here, and this will get anchored down to our deck, and you can see we have a block here, so we're able to face nail into this direction and face nail into that direction to help keep it plumb. All of this is all of our subfloor, all throughout. Here we have cripple studs, our rough sill. Right here we have jack stud, king stud. Our header is right here. And this is important for when we do our corners and our double top plates. They must be lapped. So you can see that this 2x4 runs continuous here, and then this one runs continuous there. If we didn't do that and we ran both 2x4s at the top, it wouldn't give us as strong of a joint. So in conclusion, exterior wall frame consists of plates and studs. So bottom plate or sole plate, and then our 2 top plates and double top plate. Our studs, they're again headers and sills, jack studs and trimmers, also known as, so we use trimmers but not as much in terminology. Corner posts and partition intersections, and ribbons, again, for balloon framing, and braces to get our walls plumb.